Sky Keys has been released 1.5 years ago by now, and if you haven't heard of it yet, you must have been living under a rock. I personally got a ton of Instagram ads for this plugin, basically since the day it launched, and even though it's been recommended by big producers like KV or Alan Ritter since then, it still never really clicked with me, and to this date, I haven't checked out the VST once. Now, today is the day where that's gonna change, because I'm gonna put this plugin through an extensive test to see if it's actually worth your money in 2025. Let's jump straight into it. Now, there's plenty of sound demos of this plugin on YouTube, so I'm not gonna go into detail here. I'm just gonna, play around a little bit with the plugin, figure out what presets I like, what sounds are in here, but I'm not gonna go through every single category and show you what sounds are in here, because there's better places to get this. I found some that are pretty cool, but these are really basic, at least most of them. So there's some pretty standard synth sounds in here, some standard key sounds, pad sounds, all that kind of stuff. There's some cool, like, real acoustic instrument stuff, but it's really not that much, and it's not that high quality, because obviously this VST is a glorified one-shot player. So basically how every preset works is that there's a one-shot that's put into this engine. You can also drag and drop your own one-shots, or own sounds if you want to. And you can then, adjust the attack, the release, and there's a few effects down here that you can use. So there's this tone shift one that, just changes the tone a little bit. I'm not sure what it's exactly doing. But on this basic sound, it's really just, doing some minimal stuff. There's also some vibrato, so if I really crank this up, this is what it sounds like. There's also a filter, so low pass and high pass. There's only one reverb mode, which obviously would be dope to have like different types of reverbs, but this is what we got. And there's also a saturation button, so you can drag this up and really distort the sounds, which can be cool on some, I think. So this plugin really can't do anything your DAW can't do already, and the main selling point of it is basically the sound selection and the sounds that you have in here, the presets, because they claim that they recorded like all tons of analog gear and only selected like the best 200 something presets or sounds from that and put them into here and worked with that. So the sounds are supposed to be pretty good. I can definitely hear it. For one shots, those are super clean, but obviously you have to deal with the limitations of one shots, so I'm gonna come to that later. Now in the next section, we're gonna really put this plugin to the test and make a beat with it. Let's go. Alright, I think I found a pretty good progression on the keys, so we can work with that for the melody. Obviously the sound is pretty thin right now, so let's add another instance of Sky Keys and maybe fill it up a little bit with a pad. And now let's use the built-in filter to, low pass it a little bit, so we get rid of some of these highs. And then let's copy over this chord and fill in the rest of the progression. I found this pretty cool, like, glockenspiel toy piano kind of sound. Maybe I can actually like play it in and then we use halftime on it to just change up the sound a little bit. Alright, I think we're cooking now. Now, I didn't find any good bass sounds into the plugin, so I'm gonna go to my own Nostrus sample kit and get one of the bass sounds from there. Yeah, something like this fuel preset. Yeah, I can already hear some crazy trap drums on this, but before we move on to the drums, I actually want to add a little B section, just because, we're here to test out Sky Keys and not for me to show you how to make drums or something. So I just pitched down the pad by like 1 octave, and I also removed the top line from the main like melody that we started with, just so we have some space to add like a lead to this. Maybe there's like some flute sounds in here. That would be dope. I think this could work, and then we pitch it up right here. And I think it's sounding a little bit harsh on the height, so let's just tame it a little bit by adding an equalizer and getting rid of these really high frequencies. Ooh, something that would be super cool is if we would run this through one of our pedals. So you can't see right now, but right behind me I got the hologram microcosm pedal set up. It's like a delay pedal, and it would be perfect to run this through. So we're just gonna add an external audio effect, and we're gonna send it to the pedal and get the return from the pedal. Alright, so now recorded the signal from the pedals into the separate audio tracks, so we can essentially mix it between, you know, our original sound and the wet pedal sound. Alright, so I think that's it for the melody. I'm surprised how good this actually went, and I think that's where you see the strength of Sky Keys, really, you know, that you just have a ton of pretty simple or simplistic presets that are not too experimental, but that are just super dope to, you know, quickly cook up something that just sounds good. Now for today I'm gonna go with the Drumloud drum kit from Kavi, because it just got some pretty basic sounds that fit the vibe of this video. Ooh, this is about to be fire, let's go. Now we're just gonna lay the snare with a clap to give it a little bit more punch, so like that. Now we wanna have a nasty 808. Alright, I think we're going in the right direction. I just feel like we're missing a ton of energy right now. Like there could be way more just energy that fills up this beat. Maybe try speeding it up. Yeah, that sounds better already. I just feel like we could add something more to the melody. So let's grab another instant of Sky Keys. Now the technique I'm using right now is called call and response, and it's basically as the name says, so this or call and this or response, and basically just means that you have a melody where there's something that's calling, which could be like one instrument, one phrase, one melody, on this case, you know, just the ARP going up, and then there's another phrase that's responding, so another instrument, another phrase, or like, you know, the ARP going down in this section. Super simple concept, but it's super fire and it works 99% of the time. Let's add the delay tape 201 from Arturia. Super dope delay plugin. Alright, let's add a kick to this, just so the hook slaps even more. Alright, the only thing that this beat needs is open hats and perks. Alright, this is turning out fire. Let's also add a riser to this. So I just made use of the reverse feature in here. So with this reverse effect, you can basically just, you know, select a portion of the sample that's getting reversed. I think with these 3 open hat hits, we can also pan these. So we're gonna have the first in the center, and then the second one a little bit to the right, and the third one a little bit to the left. Oh yeah, that's left. Alright, so I think we're done with the beat. Turned out super fire. Let's give this an actual final listen. Now, before I give you my final opinion on this plugin and answer the question of this video, I quickly want to talk about the price of it. Because when I opened up the website yesterday to purchase it and I saw the $60 price mark, I was quite surprised. Because in my mind, this plugin was like $20 to $30, something around that area. And this turned out to be true, because if you sign up for an account, which you have to do anyways to purchase the plugin, they send you a discount code that makes the price go down to $25 within a few hours basically. So have a little bit of patience or Google for discount codes and you're gonna get the plugin for $25, which is also why I'm gonna value it at $25 for the review, which I usually don't do. I take the full price that, you know, without any discounts, but I think nobody ever paid $60 or even $120 for this plugin. Now, with that being said, let's move on to my final thoughts. So, the positives first. This plugin is super easy to use. If you're a beginner producer, I think this is pretty dope. It's literally just a sampler, but it's even more simple than a sampler in your DAW, while giving you access to good quality sounds and effects inside the plugin already. So you can really just start experimenting, turning a few knobs and see what they do, and it's gonna be pretty easy. There's nothing you really can break, there's nothing really that can go wrong. You can just experiment with it. Now, the sound selection is also pretty good, I can't lie. There's no real filler sounds in here, so that is kind of good. Also, as said, this plugin is dirt cheap, so if you compare this to other super popular plugins like Omnisphere or Analog Lab, it's definitely way more affordable. So that's great as well. Also, you can import your own samples, so if you just want to use the engine, you can also, you know, buy another one-shot kit or make your own one-shots or whatever and record them into here. Now, my negatives are a lot more personal, because I feel like this plugin isn't inspiring to me. Like, the graphic interface looks pretty cheap and simplistic, and I know that sound is the thing we're going for and not, you know, the graphics. But still, I feel like if I'm looking at something that's ugly all the time while cooking up, it just doesn't inspire me as much, and that's why I would probably go to some of my way more expensive plugins that have maybe the same sound quality even, that give me a better graphics interface and way more control over the sounds, because they're not just, you know, one-shots, but actual synths or actual sampled instruments with multi-samples and all that kind of stuff. So this is basically the deal that you're getting with this plugin. Now, to answer the final question, is this plugin worth it in 25? Yes, it absolutely is. At $25, there's sample packs that have less sounds that are more expensive than this, and you can't go wrong with it. Like, especially if you're a beginner, this is a great thing. Now, are you missing out on something if you don't own this plugin? No, you don't. If you have something like Analog Lab, Omnisphere, Nexus even, I don't own that, so I'm not really sure. There is good sounds in here, there's no filler sounds in here, but there is no sounds in here that you couldn't get from another plugin, from anywhere else. Because all the sounds are good, they all go to, they're all easy to use, but they're not special, they're not, it's not, the plugin is not doing something different to other plugins. So if you own one of the plugins I just named, you're not really missing out on something. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Definitely let me know what I should review next. See you guys in the next video. Bye.